The standby is known as one of the best jobs on Broadway. You get to have the glory of playing this role without all of the pressure and discipline.
Just like a backup quarterback.
You're a backup quarterback.
I'm a backup QB.
Everybody loves you. You just get to go in.
You get to save the day.
You have the big moment. You win the game.
You throw the ball everywhere. You win the game, and then you just get relegated right back to the bench again, and people love you even more. Here we are again. Welcome to another episode of Fitz and Whit. I am Fitz. That beautiful bald man to my left is Whit. Whit, we've been working off the chocolate from the last few days. I think our discipline, I don't know, man.
We're struggling.
You've been in Cabo. I'm super worried. I've, trip after trip. I'm not stepping on a scale because I don't want to see it, but I have a surprise for you today, my friend.
Ooh, I'm excited.
In the interest of the draft coming up, I made a very bold decision, and we'll get to that soon on who our guest is going to be.
Did you trade me?
Wanted to.
Oh.
I didn't know. You've never. Well, of course,
I know where we were going.
Traded. I got traded twice, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you know what? The first one wasn't great because I was telling Liza where I got traded to, and the GM walked up to me, and I had to hang up on her. So she had to wait for like 5 minutes with a newborn for me to tell her where we were traded. The second one worked out great because I got traded to New York after I broke my leg and had a wonderful season that year. Anyway, enough about me. Let's go into you with the draft coming up here. And we both, I'm sure, have so many memories surrounding that. But give me one of your top memories after getting drafted second round by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, I've the draft is obviously fun every year to watch, Fitz. I enjoy it now. I don't know if I enjoyed it then because you're so nervous during the moment when it's your turn. But now it's fun to watch because I can usually tell by the guys who allow the cameras in their house how things are going to go for them their rookie year, just by the setup. Usually like the family makeup, maybe, some dynamics with the old lady. There's always a couple cues in there, right? Maybe even how they answer the phone and talk to the coach. Like you can kind of, all right, this guy's got some adjustments to make. You can kind of tell the guys that are going to be what they are a little bit into their character. But my story, Fitz, I get drafted. And I think it pretty much sums up me, and just in how I am, that I like to be, I'm a little OCD when it comes to preparing for things. The secretary, Marvin Lewis's secretary at that time, Sandy and Jamie, both worked up in his offices. I know you know them. They call me and they're going, "Hey, Andrew, again, thank you for answering. We just want to congratulate you on being a Cincinnati Bengal. We'd love to set up your flights and your hotel for rookie minicamp. So why don't you just tell us where you are and where you'd like those flights to be from?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm actually here. I'm staying at the Holiday Inn right across the water." They're like, "Wait, what?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know how it worked. I got drafted, so I booked a flight. I'm just sitting here waiting on y'all to tell me when I can actually come in the door." So I was actually in town just waiting for somebody to call me and say, "You can come in the building." So I went over there like 15 minutes. Marvin's like, "Wait, I just told them to call you." And I was like, "Yeah, coach, I just been sitting in town waiting for you guys to tell me I could come up here." So that kind of, that was me. A little bit, a little bit anal. Sometimes I was a little worried about always being ready for things. So, I like to prepare ahead of time.
That does not surprise me one bit. Mine was a little bit different because I don't know if you remember, I don't know if the rule exists anymore, but there used to be a rule that you couldn't participate in OTAs until you graduated. And even if you weren't in school anymore, it was until your school had graduation.
Yeah, until they had graduation.
So the Ivy League, it was like Harvard's was like June 9th or something. So I didn't really get to do any of the OTAs, but I do remember. So after you get drafted, they have a rookie mini camp kind of right after. And so I was able to go out to the rookie mini camp. And first of all, for me, it was like, gosh, do I belong? You're just trying to like figure out if you're there or not. And I still have got some stuff. I was, everything they give you, you learn right away. You just take. I mean, look at this beauty.
There it is, baby.
That is something else. But the hats, the shorts, 2 pairs of socks. I'm like, oh my God, this stuff's all free. Like, this is unbelievable. But this is still up in my house. It's been up in my house since the day I got this check. This is the first check I ever received from rookie minicamp. I'm going to show you real quick.
Oh, dude,
Might
that's
not-
awesome.
Yeah, so that's certainly a copy of it.
Who's in the
I
photo?
cashed that thing right away.
Oh.
Yeah, the beardless guy right there. But this was, let's see, $273.63. That was my first check from my first rookie minicamp that made me a professional athlete.
That's
and at that
awesome.
moment, nobody could ever take that away from me.
Do you remember anything from being a rookie at all during that time, right after the draft?
Well, I'll show you one more photo that I grabbed here. This is also a young Ryan Fitzpatrick there. I remember so Mark Bolger got hurt. Jamie Martin's number 11. Jeff Smoker, if you remember him, is number 15. You know what? The thing I remember, Mike Martz was my coach, and he was notorious for being very hard on young quarterbacks, but he was also notorious for really developing guys. And the thing that I remember, it must have been at some point during training camp. It might have been after that first rookie mini camp. He brought me into his office and he said, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're going to be a great player in this league. And that was really the first guy where I'm like, me? Like what? Okay. So I owe a lot to Mike March, just even for that one meeting, that one bit of confidence that he, threw into me, and that stuck with me for the remainder of my career. For a guy to see something in me, to know after developing Kurt Warner and Mark Bolger and Trent Green and all these guys that like he thought I could fit into that category. That went a long way for me because I was still trying to figure out if I belonged in the league or not.
Yeah, I love that, Fitz. I think you definitely remember the guys in your locker room and the coaches that maybe said those first couple things to you of either belief or a little bit of advice, a little bit of just love your way that you didn't necessarily deserve or earn yet. They just took a little extra time to welcome you. That's why at the end of my career, I made it a thing when I was a Los Angeles Ram. All 5 years I was there, I would get the rookies' numbers and I would text them the second they got drafted. And I wanted to welcome every single one of them to the locker room because I just wanted them to feel that way. Because the other part of my story, Fitz, that I'll always remember, I always think, people talk about the highs of your career and the big moments. I remember the adversity moments more than I remember anything else. And so I can remember moving up from Louisiana, getting drafted to Cincinnati. And 2 weeks after I was drafted, my college roommate and one of my best friends growing up in high school, we played high school football together, Lee Hamilton Deal, was killed in action in Iraq. May 17th. So with Memorial Day weekend coming up soon in the next few weeks, it's something I'll never forget. And I got drafted, and immediately 2 weeks later, I get a reminder of how short life can be and how grateful I should be to even have the opportunity to play professional sports. So I'm always thankful. Every national anthem is emotional for me because I think of that moment. I think of Lee, what he died for, and what I get the opportunity to do. And so every national anthem I stood for at a football game, I never took for granted because I understood why I got to stand where I got to and the opportunity I got to have and who it's provided for, I should say. And so to me, when I think of my rookie year, those are the two things I think of. I think of getting drafted and moving to Cincinnati. And I think of that moment, really having, the opportunity to go through something like that. And obviously it was sad and it was something devastating, but it became something that was a life mantra of mine. And that's why I've always continued to be involved with the military. And it's always meant so much to me. So there's a lot of moments that these rookies are going to have in life, both highs and lows. Coming up because it's just different. It's not college football anymore. You're not a recruit. There's no NIL as these guys are going through. It is earn your pay. And every single day can you show up and be that kind of guy and make your name in the NFL. So it's exciting times, but it's going to be tough times as well. So I'm excited to see after this week, the draft, what are going to be the new stories that we're going to get to hear from these athletes and these teams.
Yeah, and I think the biggest piece of advice for these young guys is find a veteran and latch on to them.
Yep.
To the point where you're annoying the piss out of them because there are some guys, and it's not always the big name guys either.
Yep.
For us both, like watching a guy like Reggie Kelly in Cincinnati.
Oh my gosh.
Even though that was year 3 and 4 for me, I got a locker kind of near Reggie's and
special human
being. He made it in the league for 10 plus years for a reason. And yeah, he had some of the physical skills, but him as a teammate, like there was always things that I would think back to Reg and all the great things, the way he made me feel as a young guy, accepted and bringing me up and taking me under his wing. There are always moments in my career where I'd be like, what would Reggie do in this situation? And that's an important thing right away. Find those guys, because it's not hard to find those guys who are the leaders, who are the guys that do it the right way and aren't necessarily always the big time names, and just latch on and learn as much as you can. So last question before we move on here to our special guest. My first 2 car purchases, Liza and I were dating at the time. We got engaged, as I've told the McDonald's story, during our first season with the Rams. But my first 2 big purchases, I bought a Nissan Pathfinder, and I bought Liza a lime green Volkswagen Beetle, which was her dream car. The best part about that was, when we had family come in, sometimes she would need to take the Pathfinder to pick people up and whatever. And so I would roll into the Rams parking lot in the lime green Beetle with the flower in the front next to the steering wheel.
Why does that not shock me?
Number 76 parking spot. And everybody would just point and laugh and like it as well. But what was your first big purchase, or maybe even a car purchase, when you were a rookie?
Yeah, I know this is going to shock you. My first car purchase was right around the time when the H2 Hummers came out. Yeah, I had an H2 Hummer, jacked up with tires, big rims, subwoofers, a huge sound system in it. I'm pretty sure I had like a club light atmosphere going on inside of it. It was completely blacked out. It was quite a show everywhere you pulled up, that's for sure. So I definitely had some just loser vibes going on. I was trying to be cool really bad.
Trying to fit in.
Just trying to fit in, baby. Get in where you fit in. So I like to have a good time. That was a different stage of life, that is for sure. And I like to live a little bit. So in my first place I lived, I actually bought a condo on the water right by the Reds facility, right by their stadium, I should say. And I loved living there. And then Melissa and I, when we met and eventually got married, we lived there for a while until we had kids. But that was one of my favorite places I've ever lived, just because it was so fun living. I'd walk across the street and go to Reds baseball games. It was a blast. And I could ride Carson got us electric scooters for Christmas my rookie year, or my second year. They were awesome. And I would freaking ride those things down to work. Honestly, I was the big grape ape on
that. That is a sight to be seen.
Oh,
there.
Buddy. I was 6'8", 365 and riding this freaking scooter as fast as it could go all the way facility down the road in Cincinnati. So it was quite a scene. That's for sure.
That reminds me of our first year in Kansas City. That bird scooter didn't want to make it up the hill when me, you and Carissa were riding.
That bird
those
scooter
scooters.
did not like me. I gave up on bird scooter after that.
So this is a shot in the dark, but Brady's got prom coming up this weekend. Is there any chance you still have that Hummer, the jacked up Hummer?
I do not have.
It's got
the
real
Hummer
prom vibes to it.
That definitely has some prom vibes. If you'd have just added a little stretch to it, it would be. It's probably right now getting rented out to proms all across the South.
All right, let's do it. Let's get in to our guest today. I want to say this. You've made a lot of safe choices. Of course, Sean McVay. That's a safe choice. Kevin O'Connell, again, safe choice.
Some guaranteed first-round picks, guys. Top 10 type people, right?
You know what? I'm taking a big swing here. I really am, because I think our guest, she has incredible upside. I think she's an incredible talent. And I came out of the Masters telling you about her, man. Mary Kate Morrissey is going to be our guest today.
This is awesome.
And she is so impressive.
I'm so excited about this one, man.
I had such a fun time. It was her husband, her parents. But I'm going to take a swing here. And in the first round of the Fitz and Whit podcast draft, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my friend, Mary Kate Morrissey. And now it's time to dim the lights. Cue the orchestra, center the spotlight, and invite today's special guest onto our little stage. Little, of course, in comparison to those she is accustomed to prowling. She's the pride of the Eagles, the Bishop Shanahan High School Eagles in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. She's the pride of the Orange of Syracuse University. And she's the pride of Broadway, where she just finished a triumphant year in the impressive and impossible, the scintillating and celebrated, glamorous and, well, green role of Elphaba. We could call her Elfie. I just saw the movie, actually, in the global smash hit Wicked. This woman also happens to be one of the coolest people I have ever come across. And Whit, she is my guest, not yours. I finally got to invite somebody cool.
You finally found a friend.
A warm welcome to our guest, Mary Kate Morrissey, please.
Go Birds.
Well done, Fitz.
Go Birds right away.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
You dropped the Eagles on us.
You did drop the Eagles.
Well, it's good to be an Eagles fan right now.
It is.
Good to be an Eagles fan. So, MK, we met at the Masters. Was that just last week? Which was like so cool. I got to spend a lot of time with your husband, Trevor, got to spend some time with your dad, John. Mary Beth was there. We were eating ice cream sandwiches together. Just give me a quick recap. Did the Masters live up to the hype for you?
It was unbelievable. I mean, it's like everyone says it's believe the hype about it, and it's so true. It was my first time. And there were a couple of memories that like really stick out. One of them being sitting on 6 and you being like a couple rows up, being like, MK. And next thing I know, like an ice cream sandwich is flying through the air. And me having basically no athletic ability, I'm just like, oh no. And my mom goes, and catches it like that.
Mary Beth. How good are those sandwiches, though?
Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. Ice cream's peach.
You know, unfortunately, I wasn't there. I was on vacation with the fam in Cabo. But listen, I'm going to call you MK. I don't feel like, we haven't met in person yet, but we're going to be
Is that okay with
friends.
you, MK?
We're going to be quick
good.
friends.
Okay.
I feel it.
Yeah, we're going to be quick friends. So look, the Masters isn't the only epic sports thing you've gotten to be a part of this year. I saw where NFC Championship in Philly, you got to sing the national anthem. I want to hear how that went about, how that happened, and what that experience was like. Because I can imagine as an Eagles fan, that had to be sick.
It was so crazy. And it was in my last month of doing Wicked. It was in my last month. And I got a DM on a Monday that was like, hey, have you ever wanted to sing the anthem at the Eagles game? And I was like, I'm just going to ignore that. Because, you know, we get like a bajillion DMs. And then another person, hey, I'm with the Eagles. We're trying to get a hold of you. And I was like, I'm just going to ignore that one too. And then one more is like, hey, my name is Ben at eaglesnfl.com. We're trying to get in touch with you. Do you have any interest in singing the national anthem? And I'm like, I look at Trevor and I'm like, this is real. This is real. And I bet you it's for this Sunday because they had just won and it was for the championship game in Philly, home game, right? And so I'm already like, okay, immediately it's 11 o'clock on a Monday. I'm calling my stage manager, who's also a Birds fan. And I'm like, this is just a heads up. Like, I need off for Sunday just in case. And they're like, it has to be approved by the producers, but just say you're sick. If you can't do it, they'll see you on national TV. And
Whoa.
So I know. So I'm like, yes, absolutely. They're like, let's hop on a call tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm like, okay. So I hop on a call and they're like, have you ever sung the anthem before? And I sang it at a Mets Yankees game and then at like a NBA game when we were in Minnesota. And but never like for my home team. And like I have known the Eagles fight song longer than I've known Happy Birthday. You know what I mean? Like that's the song. I know that.
That's
and
awesome.
I know The Hawk Will Never Die. Those are like for St. Joe's and Philly. Those are like our two. We sing it every time someone gets socks at Christmas. We sing the Eagles chant. You know, my dad has been known at the beginning of Wicked to lead the Eagles chant. Like it is, which is unbelievably embarrassing if you can imagine.
Awesome.
Like on my very last show, all these people flew in from all across the country, and my dad is in the audience going, E A G, and
That's great. Yes. Yes.
And then the crew is like, MK, I think so. They're doing the Eagles chant out there. It's time we got to start the show. Look, it's like, okay, we're going.
We had to tone John down at the Masters, because it's just sometimes it's not as appropriate as a patron at the Masters to be doing Eagles chants.
You saw it firsthand, Ryan. You know what I mean? So anyway, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to sing the Eagles chant. Or I'm going to sing the national anthem. So we're on the phone and they're like, yeah, it's for this Sunday. And I'm like, that sounds great. Yes, absolutely. Like, sure thing. And then they're like, okay, so we can get you and like a +1. And I was like, I would be remiss if I didn't just ask if my brother Sean, who is a massive Eagle, if he could come with me. And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And I'm like, that was easy. I was like, well, I also have 2 parents and another sister who would love to come as well. I need 6. And they were like, sure, no problem. So they sent a Suburban to Brooklyn. We all piled in. We all like went down at 11 a.m. We're sharing a dressing room with Lincoln the Eagle. an actual eagle.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah, we've seen him. Yeah.
We met the eagle.
Oh, me too. He's wild. They're like feeding him real fish and like checking his GPS on him. And he's, and you can imagine my dad is like, like, that's the eagle. He is me. I am him, like wild. And we did the sound check, which was great. They all got to be like on stage or like, I guess on the field for the sound check and everything. Then we go back, hanging with the eagle. I took 2 beta blockers so that I wouldn't like, totally lose it, because they were like, do it in a minute 30. I was like, okay, that's quick. We're going to do it real quick. And we get out there. It's Kylie Kelsey's right there. Like, it's like wild. So my whole family and they're all just like looking around. You know what I mean? Just like, this is crazy. The Commanders come on. They're like running in front of us. We're like, like screaming at them. And then they're like, okay, go. It's time to go. So we go over. They roll out this massive flag behind me. And I get to go ahead and I start. And I get to the part that's like, and the rocket's red glare. And the whole audience, red glare. But quick. Yeah. And the audience is on their feet and they're losing their mind. And I'm like, I must be doing a really good job right now. Next thing I know, Lincoln comes right in front of me. He is like circling me.
Feeling the show.
Literally, I'm like, this bird's about to land on my shoulder. They're going to make a bobblehead out of me like they did that other guy. Like, so he's flying right in front of me. People are losing their minds. And it was just like this really big, epic sort of crescendo to the end of it. And I like get off field and I'm like, was it good? It was good. Lincoln flew in front of me. Like, it was just, and then literally my mom was like, I have 100 text messages of people being like, you're there. She did so good. Like, my parents were the most popular people. They were the mayors of Philadelphia.
That's awesome.
That day.
How cool is that for you? The Masters experience and that experience too, for your dad to be able to provide him. Because I think your dad had been to a practice round maybe before long ago in the Masters, but for you to be able to provide that, like such joy, not just of seeing you on stage, but Masters is a huge bucket list thing.
Huge.
And of course, his home team, like the team he's rooted for forever, watching his daughter sing the national anthem in the most important game of the season for the Eagles.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's so cool. It was awesome. And can I tell a Masters story real quick, Ryan?
Please.
It's about you and the chairs.
Oh boy.
Chairs.
I need all this. And I wasn't there. He's giving me updates. I kind of want to know, you give me the real story, what was going on.
So I had heard ahead of time, our mutual friend Christy was like, Ryan and his dad and his brother, they all go out and they put out all the chairs so that we have a place to sit. They go really early. And I'm like, that's cool. So then it actually happens on Saturday. I'm like, oh my God, there are all these chairs that we can just sit in. That's so crazy. And my dad and my brother, or my dad and Trevor, look at each other like, we need to help. We need to do this. And so Trevor, well, and all you NFL men are huge. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking my husband's huge too. And he comes up to you, but he's not. And I'm like, Trevor's like this. And you're like, you know what I mean? And he's like, we would really like to help you, or however he said it to you. And
Trevor, first of all, he's the nicest human I think I've ever met. But he felt bad. He said, because we did chairs on 14, 12, and 6 on Saturday. And he said, I would like to contribute. I need to pull my weight. I need to help. And it was just like, well, Trevor, just so you know, I mean, we're having this conversation at 10:30 p.m. We'll probably be up till 1 a.m., but you got to wake up at 5:45 to get on the 6:15 shuttle. But he did. Trevor and your dad showed up.
And the way they show up, this is them telling the story after the fact, right? They're like, we went to sleep at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and this is them at 5:45. They're like, gotta set up the chairs.
No alarm needed.
No alarm needed. They're hyped. And they like walk over and they get into this van. And Ryan is giving this like pep talk speech. It's like, we're going in. Everyone have a good head about you. This is the game plan. And my dad says that in his mind, he's like hearing this music that's like dun, 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 dun. And they're about to like hop out of the van. And the thing that they need to do is like go in, make a right away and grab and Ryan says, grab 4 chairs and a gnome. So they all like file out of this van, grab the 4 chairs and a gnome, which I don't even know how you guys were carrying all of that. And then
train all year for it.
Ryan gave my dad gave him a credit card, and Ryan and my dad are standing at the front with the cash going like beep, beep, just like pushing people through, like, go, go, go with the chairs. And then
This is
they're all like,
unbelievable.
it's unbelievable. They're like insecure. They're like waiting in line in security, like all pushed up against each other. My husband described it as nut to butt. And he's like, they're waiting and then they go through. And I guess you wanted them to go a certain way. I won't say which way, just in case people will steal that for next year.
MK,
no secrets given here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Ryan apparently was like, if I catch any of you shopping, you're done. Like, get out. 4 chairs in a gnome. So they all have their 4 chairs. They go through security. They're like pulling the bags off the chair. They've got the chair. They're throwing them through, putting them back on. And then they all like wiggle down because you can't run at the Masters. You have to like, you can only walk. And apparently people were like, no running, stop running. So they're all, I can't just imagine these like 10 men just with their gnomes power walking to the spot.
It's thousands of men. Like, it's the most ridiculous scene you've ever seen. And then Trevor's got a quick first step. I'll tell you that. I mean, he was boxing people out. He was stepping in front. It was great. We had so JJ, of course he slept in. He needs more time for that beautiful face
beauty
of
rest.
Yeah. But his 3 buddies showed up and they were also part of our army. We ended up getting 44 chairs down, which is a new record for us. We had a whole army of people, Whit, and
this is no small operation.
No, it was huge. We're all in the same bus. It's almost just the anticipation in the like shuttle beforehand might be my favorite part. But a couple guys lost chairs. Like they had them and they're walking and one fell off their shoulder. Leave it, leave it behind. And we kept going. And it was so much fun. But yeah, for your dad, and then I got to hang out with your dad and Trevor for most of that day. So that was really cool moment for us. And then we all got to sit and bask in the glory of those chairs on 16.
Which was amazing. We were like front row on 16 on Sunday, watching the shots come through and watching them. It was wild. And do you remember there was that little turtle?
Oh, the turtle, Whit.
There was like this little, there's a little tiny, tiny baby turtle. It was like climbing up the sand trap, and he'd get to the very top. He's trying to come over, and he like somersault back down, and so that he would climb up again. And the whole, you can imagine. I don't even know, Ryan, how many people do you think were like on the side?
Thousands around 16, like for
thousands, and people start chanting "turtle, turtle."
He's a theatrical turtle. I love it.
And then 2 wildlife people came over and picked him up, and everyone's booing him like as the round is going on Sunday at the Masters. It was wild.
That's fantastic.
We've had a bunch of guests. A lot of them have surrounded around football. Last week we had our first non-football guy who was Blake Griffin. So we brought a basketball player on. But I thought we had to bring you on for lots of reasons. One, because of how impressive of a human being you are, and I really enjoyed spending time with you and your family. 2, selfishly, our wives and our daughters absolutely love you. They love Wicked. They're all about all the theatrical stuff. So I want you to take us back to when you were young. So I have 4 daughters. My daughters are 14, 12, 10, and 8. And Whit has 2. I hope I get is it 14 and 9 or
14 and 10? She's 10 now.
14 and 10. Catherine's 10 now.
Good call.
So both of our oldest daughters, the 14-year-olds, are way into singing, dancing. My daughter loves acting and all of that. But take us back to that age for you. I'm going to assume you were way into this, but when did you know that like Broadway was the goal? Or was it the goal back then? And it wasn't just a hobby for you? It
was immediate for me. It was just like I played like a sheep in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat when I was in kindergarten, and I was like, I have made it. Like, this is what I'm doing. But I grew up in a family where the 2 most important things were the arts and sports. So my dad's parents, now that you've met my dad's parents are off the boat from Ireland. And my pop worked at the Acme. He worked the night shift, and my grandmom cleaned houses, and they lived in a townhouse in South Philly with 7 kids, and then all of the Irish coming through, and they would like sort of set them up and move them on their way. So the house was always packed with people. My pop was an Irish dancer, and everybody sings. So they grew up learning, and that's also how the Irish like passed down their history, because of the English occupation. For so long, they were recording their history through song. So my family knows all of these songs. And so when I was young, we would be sat in the sing song as all the adults were singing. And my mom would be like, get up and sing a song. So we learned a couple songs, and we learned that you could stay up a little bit later if you knew more songs and like could sing more songs. And the adults loved it so much. There was such value placed in singing and in storytelling as I was young. And I think that because my family was so poor, like my ancestors were so poor, that my dad was the first to go to college, and I really wanted to go into the arts. And it was finally like, I feel like everyone was behind me and the doors were opening and everyone was like crashing me through, kind of. And so awesome. I feel like I have a huge responsibility to my history to like really take it seriously, and the opportunity that my dad has provided me to take it seriously. And then, you know, the little girl in me, like when I was 14, that's the first time I saw Wicked. And I was in Catholic, because that's when it opened. I was in Catholic school, and I wore my like Wicked t-shirt on dress down days. I would like alternate my Wicked one, my Rent one in Chicago. And it was just like, with Wicked, it was the first time seeing Elphaba on, and now you guys have seen the movie, like seeing someone who was like me, who I felt like I was the misfit. Like my mom's a basketball ref. My mom played college basketball. Like everybody loves sports so much. And, you know, I was in the suburbs of Philly. It wasn't like, it was also very, very sports heavy. And so I was like, this is me. I'm the outcast. I'm the misfit. I'm Elphaba. That's the job I want. And so it just kind of like kept going from there. But I don't know if you guys have experienced this in your life with sports. Like there's so much, you have so much like inside work you have to do to like actually get to a certain level. And I had to do so much inside work to be like, the minute I told myself that I didn't have any limits, all of the limits disappeared. You know what I mean? The minute I told myself I could do it, I did it. But I had to give myself that. I had to kind of like break that wall first. And is it the same in sports? Is that way in like in performance in your world?
Oh man, I would say, yeah. I mean, I think people always ask you that question. At what point did you know you're going to be an NFL football player? And it's like, never. I just always dreamed, right? And it's like you just keep, you know, as I always say, like just hitting the, you know, if it's a telephone pole, you're trying to knock it down. You just keep running into the pole over and over again, finding ways to like, how do I get better? How do I improve? How do I look inside and see things that I can prove in myself and dream big? And one day you look up and you're like, oh man, like where am I right now? And I think that to me, it was more like that. I always was big. I was always like, oh man, you're going to play. People would say that because of my size and athleticism, but I never really saw that. I always just saw it as, how do I win tomorrow? And like, how do I like wake up the next day and beat myself tomorrow, like being better at who I am and what I do. I think it's funny you say that about Wicked and going for the first time. I have a Wicked story myself. In 2009, I was the captain of the Cincinnati Bengals. I was a young player. It was my first year being the true starting left tackle for the Bengals. And we actually had, my wife, Melissa, and I had a miscarriage pretty far along. It was our bye week. And about to be our bye week. And on the Wednesday in the NFL, that's your biggest day. Like on Wednesday, that's the padded practice, the longest practice of the week. It happened in the middle of the night on a Tuesday night. And I go and she has the procedure. You know, we're sad, we're upset. But for me, I'm like, I'm a captain. And this afternoon, if you're okay and you're feeling okay and you're going to get some rest, I'm going to go in just for the practice. I'm not going to work other than I'm going to show up, practice with the team. And I can remember how somber I was on the field. But that night, she gets to come home. And our entire starting offensive line comes over after practice and sits around her bed in our room. We had lived in like a little condo, and we play video games. She loved Nintendo, so I bought her like this like old school Nintendo, Super Mario Brothers. So we're playing Nintendo, and my entire offensive line sitting around with us. Well, the next week is our bye week. My wife has loved Wicked her entire life, and I'm like, I know what we're going to do. I've never been to Broadway. She's never been to see it in person. We're going. And so we went in 2009 on our bye week, Wednesday night in New York. That was my first time seeing a Broadway show in my life. And my entire courtship of Melissa was learning the Wicked soundtrack. So I know all the songs. I had to listen to them every single day in the car. She grew up a classical singer. So we are friends, MK. You don't even know it. We are friends.
Oh,
all right.
My God.
You have no idea. So Wicked played a huge part in my getting Melissa to fall in love with me and marry me. And then obviously, little did we know, years down the road, it'd be an awesome moment that I think in our marriage really bonded us for life over like, all right, we've been through something adverse. And the next thing you know, over the next 4 years, we'd have 4 beautiful kids and the rest is history. And so it's obviously something that means a lot to us. So we have that bond, MK. We're bonded.
That's a really beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with me and also like with your listeners. That's like very, very moving.
He's the best. He's a big teddy bear, even though he was absolutely ferocious on Sundays.
You gotta be able to turn it on and off. She knows this.
The best. Performer. But Whit and I were talking, there's so many parallels between NFL and Broadway that we would just like to ask you some questions about, because this is obviously like you're the elite of the elite in what you do. So just talking about the character of Elphaba and how many different people have played her. And then it's like we go to teams and you're constantly either being measured by the standard, which in Buffalo, is Jim Kelly, and maybe now it's Josh Allen. But, in Philly, I'm sure Jalen Hurts, they had to talk about a bunch of different guys, Randall Cunningham being one of them. But for you, and trying to live up to that standard when you get the role, are you constantly comparing? Are you friends? Are you reaching out for advice? What are the different things that you do or think in that role?
That's a really good question. I'm the 25th to play it. So there are 24 women who have done it before me on Broadway, and it is known as like a Green Girl Sisterhood. So basically, the culture is that if I need anything, because of how heavy the show is and how it's on the Elphaba and how there's a lot of other things you have to manage apart from just doing the show, if you reach out, they will answer. So I could call any of those girls and they would answer. Just like the girl who's doing it now, if she needed me for something, I would totally drop whatever it is and help her out. And then the other thing I think similar is like I started on the road, which is sort of like a test. So I started on like, what is it like when you guys go to camp? Like I started in camp.
Training camp. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was the standby. I was the standby on the road. So anytime the girl who was playing it, who was the principal, needed a show off once or twice a week, I would do the show in like Toledo, Ohio, so that if I was going to fail or figure it out, I was going to do it in a place that was safer. Not that I ever like failed, because you have to be of a certain caliber. Of course, you guys know to like be on the team.
I failed plenty though. MK.
Yeah. So,
but go ahead. Yes.
Go ahead.
So like if I'm going to have a no-fly show, which I had once, I did it in St. Louis instead of like on Broadway. So I started as the standby and then I was promoted internally to the lead. But I still had to like re-audition. And then again, the good thing for Broadway is that I didn't have to re-audition to be the standby 2 years ago. They were just like, would you do it? And I was like, hell yeah. Because the standby is known as one of the best jobs on Broadway. You get to have the glory of playing this role without all of the pressure and discipline. Like you don't have to sustain the entire contract. You just get to come in a couple times. I'm
just like a backup
QB.
Quarterback.
Yes.
Everybody loves you.
Everybody loves you. You get to save the day. I think maybe I didn't have a good understanding of it, but we called it like special teams. I was like, I'm on special teams, or like I'm the kicker. I don't know.
You're the backup
QB.
You're the backup.
Okay, great.
Everybody loves you. You just get to go in if you have to do it.
You have the big
you throw
moment.
The
you
ball
win the
everywhere.
game.
You win the game, and then you just get relegated right back to the bench again. And people love you even more. So
it was exactly that, and I felt like I felt like a hero in a lot of ways. I was like, yeah, I'm great and I'm doing it. And then I think by doing it, I was like, you know what? I want to do this all the time. I want to be full-time QB. Like I can lead I had gotten to know the Broadway company really well. I was like, I can lead this team. I know these people. And so I asked for it and I was like, I'm your next lead. Like,
that's awesome.
The role is safe with me. I got you. And they were like, we're going to need to see you audition again. I had done it 100 times on Broadway and 800 times on the road or whatever. And they would put me on tape. And both times they put me on tape, I had to do the show that night. So I had an out. I was like, all right, I have to be green in 30 minutes. So we need to wrap this up. But every time they taped me, they didn't like what they were seeing. But then they would come to see the show and they're like, that's exactly what we want. And I'm like, well, the media I'm giving you is theatrical and you're putting me on an iPhone. So of course you're not going to like, of course it's not going to translate. And I think that essentially they just trusted me, or maybe didn't find somebody who was going to do it better than me at the time. And then I got to do it for the whole time, that whole last year. But the crazy part about the comparison thing is that I was so used to being compared to the 24 before me, but I was the Elphaba at the time the movie came out. So then there was the whole other aspect of like, okay, now there's Cynthia Erivo, who is like the QB of all QBs, you know?
And do you watch that movie? And what do you think? Like, are you comparing the whole time? Are you able to just sit and enjoy it?
No. I mean, it's like, it's work for me, you know, like anything
Right.
Wicked feels like work. We saw it on a Monday, which was our day off, and we had a 9-show week the next week. But we had to be there because they were hosting us. They were hosting the cast of the movie, John M. Chu, the director, all the producers. Like, it was this big New York event. And it was really fun, but it was also like, it's my day off and here I am watching Wicked, you know?
Yeah.
That's cool. I think of it like, okay, when you say that, like the parallels of that, you know, in the NFL, you got these young guys that get drafted, and nowadays patience is gone and everyone wants them to immediately be successful and immediately jump in there and take these roles. And you talk about being in those standby positions. I'm imagining, like, as I tell young people, like looking for those intangible things in people that you're getting that opportunity to back up. There's things you observed or watched and said, if I get this opportunity, this is who I want to be, or this is some characteristics I want. What are some of those things that you feel like you maybe got to observe or watch somebody in those opportunities and take advantage of when it was your chance?
I think that the qualities in the leaders that I saw that I tried on for myself were just like sustaining confidence and not investing in anything but what I was there to do. So sort of like steering clear of any political drama or anything like that. Or I had one Elphaba that I stood by for, Emily Cook, who was like, I just am going to do it the way that I'm going to do it. And if you don't like it, I still have the job.
I'm going to be me.
You know? I'm going to be me. And that really helps me because, you know, like with Elphaba, everybody's comparing your riff or how you say a certain line or whatever it is. And it's like, all I can do is do exactly what I can do and what I bring to this role based on my experience. And if you don't like it, you're still seeing Wicked. Like it's still Wicked.
How much change or growth was there for you from day one of doing it as the lead to your final performance? Is there a variation in performance for you?
I think the biggest jump I made was from the standby to doing it as the lead, because when I was standing by on Broadway, the blocking there's a lot of different moving parts, and like I made some big mistakes and I got to digest them in a reasonable pace instead of having to like go right back into the show. Like one show, our tower was broken. So like the tower's moving in and out like this. And then all of a sudden it was back, but I never had a rehearsal with it. So the broom right before Defying Gravity is on the tower and I didn't know how to get it off. And I'm in the middle of the show. It's like, we have to barricade the door. I'll use this. And I go to get the broom and I'm like,
oh gosh. Uh-oh.
And I broke the broom in half because I freaked out. I split it. And so then I had to hold this broom together for all of the flying. Just stay because on plan B, like they know to stop the show if I drop the broom like this. Like that's the signal to everybody that something's wrong. So the whole time I'm like, try to hold this broom together. So things like that, like I got to learn. And like vocally, I got to like try on different qualities of my voice and learn what was the most sustainable. But I definitely think that like the ownership of the role comes from doing it every day. And so like my last show was my best show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. I think there is so many things that are consistent over both things. I mean, when you talk about, performance at the highest level, day in and day out, to me, we always say like the truest measurement of performance is consistency over time. And so when I've gone to Broadway shows and I watch, I always just think like, how do y'all keep your energy for like, all right, you got to do it tomorrow. You got to do another show today. Like, what are ways that you're able to do that? Because I think in football, we talk about it all the time. Like coach is going to come out and start the practice over because everyone came out and it's one of those days. Like it's just hot and it's muggy and it's going to be a drag. Like what are ways that you're able to do that, to like lock yourself in to perform day in and day out like that?
It's all discipline. I'm sure but it's all self-discipline on Broadway. Like we don't have a coach that's like, get out there and do it. You know what I mean? We have to do,
no one's screaming at you.
We sort of have to do that for ourselves. And so for me, it was about building a routine that sustained the type of show I was doing, which was a heavy lift. And so the whole day required different things of me based on how I woke up, like between the mouth tape and the vocal rest and the different, workouts or stretches and different, like, I guess my coaches, my Avengers would be like my ENT, my voice doctor, my speech pathologist, like all those people who I would be like conducting experiments with basically to make it as sustainable as possible. And so like, it's all routine. Like it's so within structure, there's so much freedom. But if you don't have that structure, you're just like flying by the seat of your pants and Broadway will just crush you. Just like I'm sure with sports, like if you guys aren't practicing, like you're not going to know the player. You're not going to know exactly where you're supposed to be. You're not going to catch that pass. Like it's the same. If your routine isn't locked in, neither are you. And then your show will suffer. And for us, it's like, you have to remember that it's someone's first time seeing that show. And they may have gone through something that week or the week before, like you, that has brought them to the show that they need to escape from. So whatever's happening in our life, like the mugginess of the weather or not catching the train on time, we have to leave that at the door because we have a responsibility to our story and our audience, because we know that they're there for a reason.
I told you, Whit. She's going to be our best guest,
you
baby.
hit a home run, Fitz. You hit a home run, baby. You did.
MK, I got to go back to what you were just saying about your voice and mouth tape and all that. So we're analysts now on TV for the last 3 years.
You got to help
analysts.
Fitz out. I know where he's going.
You got to help me.
I'll send you a box. I'll send you a voice box.
Okay, because 3 times now in 3 years.
It's ridiculous.
I have lost my voice on air once so bad that I couldn't talk. I had to get a whiteboard and just start writing down my thought. Yeah, bad ball. The last one happened to me in the Super Bowl. So I call the game for Sky Sports, and we're in New Orleans all week. And so you see people, you're talking for
I was keeping him out late.
hours
I'm
a day.
Responsible.
So I wake up the morning of the Super Bowl and I'm, there's a frog in my throat and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? So any advice, any remedies, please send them my way, because I am now 3 for 3. It's happened to me once each year. Yeah, not good.
You might just have to be a little bit more disciplined, right?
Yeah. More disciplined. Wow.
Know your limit and don't break it. And when you need to go home, when you start to feel, you know your voice intimately. Once people are voice conscious, they can realize, oh, wow, that doesn't sound so great. If you go home and get a good night's sleep, you'll be fine. But if you stay out, you're screwed, brother.
When I tell you the mistake
it's also
I made.
The cadence.
The cadence,
Anytime you've done the cadence messing around for us, you always start losing your voice.
What's the cadence?
Go ahead and give us one, Fitz.
So a snap count before to tell everybody. So I'm going through snap counts.
Give us a couple.
Well, I might lose my voice and not be able to talk
we're going to work through it. That's the whole point. We're going to work
now that you and Whit are big buddies.
Let's workshop it.
Just a very simple one here. White 20! White was hot! Hit, go, hot! Green 18! Just one of those, you throw those out there, ready. Get everybody alert. My voice already, it just feels
not before a big, well, you're probably not breathing, right?
There you go.
You know what?
You're doing this. You're going,
breathe.
Well,
that's not bad.
That was pretty good right there.
So white 20 set hut.
Set hut.
I would love to hear
white 20 set hut.
And just a pro tip here. So the linemen, they go after you say set hut, but guys like Andrew Whitworth, they want to get the best jump possible. So
we're
they're
leaving on the
anticipating
H.
it.
We're leaving on the H.
So if you say white 20 and enunciate it again, white 20 set hut, he's already gone. So the cadence turns into this: white 20. That's how fast the last one has to go, because Whit is going to be jumping that cadence.
That H, I'm leaving. So you got to get through it fast.
He's leaving on the.
Wait, is it white 20 set?
So white 20
H, I'm leaving.
White 20.
certainly the first one's white 20. The second one's supposed to be white 20 said Hut, but you really got to say it fast.
You just put them together.
What are you guys thinking about between that line? You're going white 20, and then you looked around. What's
We're
that
watching
for?
them moving around a little bit. Like, are they moving? Is the defense moving? Is the safety rotating? Is the defensive end tightening his stance down a little bit? He may be slanting underneath. Is a middle linebacker taking a couple steps forward? Are they watching the ball? Like, that means they might be blitzing. Like, any of those little triggers that kind of tell me what the puzzle might end up being after that snap count. That's what I'm looking for in that moment.
Okay. I'm ready.
For me, I'm like, okay, where's Lincoln? Is Lincoln going to show up? Is he coming behind me? All right, let's hear the cadence.
Ready? 120! 120! Set!
It's not bad. It's
okay,
not bad.
Not bad.
I feel like that wasn't good.
You
No,
gotta
it
roll
wasn't.
that second white 20 set Hut's got to just roll into one word.
120 set!
There you go.
That's
That
it.
was
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's it.
That
okay,
is
so
kind of...
Tough on the see?
yeah, it strains.
Adversity.
So it strains.
Can
for
you do
sure.
it without that like gravel in it? Can you
No,
just
you have to because it's loud. The stadium's loud. Everybody's got to hear you.
You're in
I don't know.
music and all that. You understand this. So I was once explaining this about an offensive line coach. When you think of noise and how it travels, you cannot be in that audible noise, white noise of the crowd. They're screaming. So you think of that decimal where it's at, right? So you either have to go high or you've got to go really low and raspy. Yeah. So that would be his two options. You got to go real high or you got to go real low. So you
I think I can go high. I do.
Andy Dalton was that way.
Andy Dalton was very high.
Yeah, really high pitched. Mm-hmm.
Do you think everybody has the ability to sing? Like, could you? I'm a awful singer. Could you teach me if I spent months with you how to sing, or is part of it have to be innate?
No, I think everybody can sing.
Oh wow!
You can teach you can teach someone how to, and I've done it.
I'm doubting myself.
No, everybody can learn how to sing. Like, Ryan, for you, I'd be like, okay, we're going to do There Is a House in New Orleans. Like, that's what we're, like, that's.
Oh, so
that's
it's song choice as well.
I think a song choice helps. Like, if you've got a song on your heart, you're going to sing it better than, like, Ave Maria. Like, that would be fun to hear you sing that, but I don't know, you know?
Ave. Well, I want to hit the note. I want to hit the note. I want to hit the note, you know, the note.
The note.
But I don't know if I can.
Look, you could. I
That's
think
where the
could.
trouble would start.
It's all science. It's all science. And you could totally sing. Also, did you guys know that the Eagles have a lot of singers on their team?
They do.
Jordan Mailata.
Jordan Mailata has the voice of an angel. I mean,
A little baby angel. I know.
Oh,
that Christmas album.
So good. Speaking of the Eagles and then that element of all those guys, they're doing that, right? That's that makeup of that locker room. I do wonder this. So on Broadway, you talked about you don't necessarily have a coach like who's sitting there screaming at you, but like take me in the locker room per se of a Broadway show. So is there a meeting before the show starts? Is there like a talk? Is there a speech? Do you have any kind of mantra or like pre-ritual that you always have to do? Like, what is that like pre-show?
It's so show dependent. Like different shows have different pre-shows, but for like some shows, I have a friend who's doing a show right now on tour called Parade, and the leads perform at his show starts as the audience is coming in. And he's on stage already like living in his world and creating the world. Or like at the Outsiders, they bring their star in and he's walking around and people are like, oh, that's him, that kind of thing. But with Wicked specifically, our pre-show for Elphaba starts like at half hour, but it's all like there's a green team. So that's like our sort of like locker room, our green team. And that consists of the Elphaba, the hair supervisor, the makeup artist, and the dresser. And so at half hour, I have to be in my undergarments in the chair. And Mary Kay Izersky is putting pin curls in my hair as Jessica Larson, who's the dresser, is making my tea and my water bottle and my electrolytes. And she's getting all that together. And she's laying out my costumes. And then Krista comes in at 36 and she starts to paint me. She starts with the chest so that Mary Kay can finish the hair. They put the wig cap on. Then Krista goes to the face, and then I'm fully green, like probably 10 minutes before the show starts. Jess puts me in my costume, and I get like 4 minutes, but it's all timed, 4 minutes by myself while the downbeat goes, da, 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 right? And then I go out and I like fist bump the mic guys, fist bump the carpenters, and get ready to run on stage. But like for me, that track is so solitary that I have to like my show starts before the show. But in other shows, I mean, like people are, making TikToks or eating snacks or running auditions for other shows, or it's very, very loose because you do the same thing every single day. So, and the variation is extremely slight. And once you have a hold on it, it's no big deal,
That's what I think us as players, like the routine was always a big thing.
Oh yeah.
Kind of always doing
first
something
bus,
the same
second
way.
bus, who tapes you, who does your tape, who, what part of the locker room you're in pregame, what music you're listening to, all things that we're thinking about. We want it to be the exact same every single week.
Well, I know the athletes are super superstitious, right? Like, do you guys have superstitions about your game?
I hung out in my
either.
underwear and played Scrabble and like stuff on my phone until the strength coach was like, you have to go get dressed for the game because it's about to start. And I'd be like, oh, okay, fine. I'll go put it on.
Oh, you're that guy. I love it. I love it. We
chilling.
have those in theater too.
I might as well have been smoking cigarettes. I mean, I literally I was just remotely just hanging out in my locker until they told me I had to get dressed.
But I think you become that way too. Like if you play so many games and so many things.
Yeah, early in my career, I'm out there pouring sweat, working my butt off in pregame.
And definitely not. You're conserving energy at the end.
Yep.
Andrew is the oldest left tackle to ever start a game in the NFL. So, talk about consistency and longevity. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about the team aspect of it? I'm sure maybe people are leaving, coming in and out of roles, but like, do you guys hang out outside of, are you tired of seeing each other? Is there some camaraderie?
There's definitely camaraderie. It's like but it's a teamwork makes the dream work situation. You know what I mean? You're only as good as your weakest player. And so if you can get that player playing to the right standard, then your show is going to be amazing. People do hang out outside of the show, but it's work too. You know what I mean? Like especially on Broadway, everybody's got a family they're going home to or their own set of friends. We all live in this place. Whereas I feel like with you guys, like on tour, you guys are touring around playing all these different cities. And so when I was going around playing all these different cities, I was with that cast all the time. And we'd be like out or exploring or, that becomes your family because you spend the most time with them and you're in a place that you don't know. So they're the only consistent in your life, right? Your consistency for you guys is the field and who you're playing with. And the consistency for us on the road was our stage that travels with us and who I was playing with. So I feel like on the road is a lot different than on Broadway. And that's like one of the most like notable things too that people say about the changing from touring to Broadway.
That's awesome. That's how, Fitz and I played together a long, long time ago in 2007 or 8, somewhere in there. Both, and then now joining together for Thursday Night Football with Amazon, it's been 3 years of like every week on the road on Thursday nights. We get in on Wednesday. We're out for dinners and hanging out on Wednesday nights. And then Thursday, him and I go explore the cities and so it's been that I call it our traveling circus, but it's just like our little family group of all the people on our set, both on and off the camera. And you just don't realize how many hours there is where you're just sitting around, nothing else to do. We're in a circle in a lobby of a hotel, just sharing life stories about each other's kids and everything else. You're right. It really does become this other family, almost like an extension to your family. Now it's like funny when my kids start asking about what's Fitz or what's Sherm, what's Carissa, what's Taylor, what's Tony, what are all them up to? And it's like you all of a sudden your family grows by so much just from traveling together and spending all that time together.
Yeah, for sure.
So Whit is like the most giving human on earth. And for my sweet little Ruby, who is 8 years old, he got her a Cybertruck. And when I tell you, this is the coolest, this thing goes 12 miles an hour. The battery lasts all week. You can bump into anything you want and it's indestructible. It's the typical, like we might get a wrap job, but it's like that stainless steel looking color. But she is like everybody. So my brother lives next door to me, my brother Sean, who you met. And he has 5 kids. So it's just everybody's jealous. Whit has made Ruby like the coolest of all of the cousins for sure. But you talk about like that sense of family on the road and traveling. Like we really, every now and again, our kids will come too, which has been super fun for us. But yeah, Ruby's living good right now, Whit. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome, brother. You're welcome. Got to take care of the fam.
I have one question I need to get in for Ruby because
I'm excited.
Hi, Ruby.
Yeah, Rubes is the best. And you kind of already touched on getting painted green. How long does it take to take that off? And like when you do it, you have matinee and you do it 2 shows in a day sometimes. Is that so? Like, do you just leave it on between shows?
No, you're actually not allowed to. So,
oh wow,
I know. So the paint changes from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. The first line Elphaba says in the second act is, well, it seems the beautiful get more beautiful while the green just get greener. And so they paint her greener at intermission.
So before you go too far, I haven't seen the second act yet. So do not please give anything away. Okay.
Well, basically, the only thing you need to know is that a couple years have passed between the first act and the second act. Elphaba has defied the gravity and now she's on the run. But it's glam. She's like on the run glam. Right?
I love
it. She can't start with a lash on. She starts like very basic, very like very young, very like collegiate, and then by the end of the show just looks different, so you can't keep the same second act makeup in the start. But people always ask me that, and honestly I tried to keep the ears on one time because I had an ear infection and it's so uncomfortable. It's like starts to get itchy and stuff, so I think I just want to take it off anyway. But it's really easy to take off the makeup because on the road, it was hard because we were using coconut oil, but now there's like a balm that has been invented by this brand pharmacy where it just like comes right off. It's crazy. The only thing that's always left is the hairline. And usually it's just like, what are you going to do? You're playing Elphaba. You're going to have a green hairline. Like, it is what it is. Or like inside the ears, my ENT will like look at my ears and be like, yep, there's green in your ear canal.
Yeah,
like,
that's your calling card.
Yeah, it's like, we'll worry about that later. That's good. Yeah, exactly. The green ears and the hairline. That's like the badge of honor. You know what I mean?
I love that. Well, speaking of green, obviously the way you met Fitz being at the Masters, let's talk about the game of golf. We got to talk about that. We all share that love for sure. How did you get the golf bug? Where did this start for you becoming such in love with the game of golf?
You know, what happened like in my very young years is that my dad really wanted us to play because my father loves golf so much. So me, my brother Sean, and my brother Will all had our own set of clubs with like little panda head covers. And he'd like bring us down to the country club and we'd have lessons. And I was like crying my eyes out because they were doing West Side Story down the street. Like all I wanted to do was theater, you know what I mean? So finally they were like, fine, you can quit. And then I always saw golf as like this thing, this like anti-theater, this anti everything. And then all of a sudden, like during the pandemic, my mom retired and started playing. And I was like, you're always gone. What are you doing? She's like, I'm playing golf with Sean and with Dad. Why don't you come and play with us? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And then she bought me a set of clubs. And the first time out, I hit a shot and it was like, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be good at this. Let's go.
Yeah, you're hooked.
Like, woo, this is fun. And then, you know, you spend your whole year like doing the best you can just to like get that tiny ball in the hole. But I could like Christy and I we played TPC Sawgrass Stadium.
Tell Whit about 16.
Ooh.
So on 16, well, the whole time we're coming up to like 50. First of all, on 4 or on 2, our caddy, we called him Mary Emmett because we had Mary Beth, Mary Kate, and Mary Christie. And so we were like, and Mary Emmett, our caddy. He was like, I think you just hit your drive 280. So I was like, yeah, so I'm like hitting the ball far, right? I'm killing it.
Oh my
God. You're in trouble.
Yeah. But I need to work on my short game. So then I fall apart a little bit in the middle, but then Christy, the whole time coming up to 16, 17, and 18, she's like, my heart is pounding because she's never played. Christy works in golf. Christy, have you met Christy?
He's never met Christy, but like she works in golf. She lives in Ponte Vedra, like Jacksonville, but she's never played Sawgrass. Is that right?
You're right. She played 17 once and like put a bunch of balls in the water. So the whole time she's like, she's like, my heart is pounding. Like my heart is racing. I'm like, we have 3 holes to go. Okay. Like we got this. So we start off on 16 and the guy who's like bringing around the water goes, you know, Bryson hits this with a driver and a 9-iron and then eagles it. And I was like, that's cool. As he says that, a bald eagle flies across. No, I'm not even joking. A bald eagle.
It's a sign. So
I hit a bomb drive off the tee, which was great. And then I hit my 6-iron and it like almost went in the sand. And then it like, no. It was like another club. And then it was a 6-iron and it went, and it was like sitting just atop the like lip of the sand. And me and Christy were driving in the car. I'm like, oh my God, I got a shot at par right now. I'm lying 3 on this par 5 on 16 at Sawgrass. Let's go. And she's like, you have a shot at birdie. And I'm like, yeah. So she's like, take your club and hit a birdie shot. I'm like, okay. So I'm like perched. The eagle flies across. The eagle flies. I'm perched across the lip of this like sandbar. There's like 50 yards. The green is forever long. And I just like, gink. And I hear Gene Beakey go, I like that. It looks good. And it rolls right into the cup. For my very first birdie I've ever had in my whole life. So then I start going like, yeah! Full cartwheel. Meanwhile, there's like a whole group trying to like get on the island green of 17. And I'm over there like, yeah! Christy lets out like the most guttural scream I've ever heard. Just no words. Just I go into a cartwheel, perfect straight legs. Then I'm like, I'm going into a split. And then I'm like, I can't do a split. So I just lay on my belly on the green. It was a mess, but it was like awesome. Bliss.
And that's why we love golf.
So then we go over and I'm like, we're like 17, let's go. I put 3 balls right in the water, but Christy got over on the first try and parred it. So that's what we really wanted. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That like sums up golf perfectly. That high of highs, and then for it just to bring you right back down.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm happy that you celebrated though. Don't worry about anybody else. Like enjoy.
Like, here we are playing the most bougie course I've ever played, and I'm literally on my belly on the green. You know, I'm never gonna be invited back ever.
It's all right. You'll have that memory forever though. That's awesome. We don't want to take up too much of your time, but we do appreciate you sitting down with us. Seriously, you're like one of the coolest people I've ever met, and certainly like so happy to have you on. Whit, I'm glad that you got to meet. Enjoy.
She's
MK,
unbelievable, man.
We're friends awesome, now.
We're friends. MK.
Hey, let us know if when that football schedule comes out, if there's any of those Thursday night games you want to go to.
Yeah, come on. We'd love to have you.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
We'll promise to sing for you if we do that. We'll do it.
Yeah, I'll bring you a little vocal box, a little vocal care box, both of you.
Okay, thank you. But MK, thank you so much for joining us. You are the best.
Thanks for saying that.
Appreciate it.
Whit, I told you. She is so impressive. And now you're on, you don't have to call her Mary Kate. You can call her MK. You guys are on great terms now, but how fantastic was she?
She was unbelievable, Fitz. I was really excited when you kind of gave me a heads up that we were going to have the opportunity to have her on. I have dove into everything she's been doing and talking about. And man, she is an inspiring person and somebody who I just think her championing her role on Broadway, her love of golf, everything, man, she is going to make even more impact in her life than she's already made just by being who she is. And so I think she shared some awesome wisdom, and I can't wait to watch her journey continue.
Yeah, and I think just the cool points too with our daughters, it's going to go a long way.
This was huge.
It's huge.
I think this is the first podcast my daughter will actually listen to. So it's great.
But that's what I think the hard thing about these podcasts sometimes too is like we didn't want to take up too much of her time, but the interview was so interesting to talk to her, so interesting to listen to all the things she had to say that it was like we didn't really get to ask her about the future and what's going to happen next.
I got so many more questions.
We got so many more questions. Maybe we'll have her on again. But yes, you're welcome. I think the guests,
you did it.
We're probably tied now, right? We brought on the same amount of guests.
Yeah, sure. If that's the way you want to see it.
Well, she counts as like 5 because of how good she was. The fan comments. I told you we're giving away a Masters gnome for the best comment. We're going to go ahead and read them here. We're going to debate and we'll decide who's going home with the gnome. Here we go. At Kaylin Bess Rogers. I love the do's and don'ts segments as a wife, and one I would add, I like this because we definitely need some, get her anything you might see while you're away that reminded you of her, or even picking up a favorite treat / food on your way home. That would go such a long way even before any resentment would kick in. Love the podcast. Kaylin, that's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, being thoughtful. I love it. At AR463 says, this is my new favorite pod. I will say, Fitz, I do agree that people shower too much. It's actually not great for your skin and hair. He's with you. However, not changing your underwear daily is frankly a little gross. Now, AR, I love you. You got to keep your privates clean and fresh, my man. P.S. you know what? He gets you the blue and red hearts. Go Bills. So you know what? He's a Bills fan. So you can.
I was with him
that.
for a while there. Too much showering, but yeah, you're right. I should change more. I get it.
Yeah, you got to get the underwear
habits.
changed. And at Scott Wilson 4626 says, I smell a Gain laundry detergent in Fritz's future. Fritz again. That story of his convo with his wife is classic. I could never tell a story like that. Yeah, see, Fitz. Fritz,
that's what we're here for.
Whatever your name is.
We're here to share with you. Let's go, Zach of all trades, master of zero, like your name, Zach. Out here saving lives with these tips, gentlemen. That's what we're here for, man.
Saving lives, baby. That's what we got into this game for.
And Joe Workman, some of us have learned these lessons the hard way. Never describe your business dinner at Del Frisco's to your wife who's home with 2 toddlers. Rookie mistake. Joe, you get it. And there were some comments of people that didn't get it. I think they don't have kids. Yeah. We all obviously really, really love our wives and want to keep them happy. But a guy with 2 kids out, a guy with 7 kids out, a guy with 4 kids out, you can't be bragging about your dinner at Del Frisco's. We've all learned the hard way. Thank you for your comment, Joe.
Well done, Joe. Well, you know what? Let me get to Fire Chauffeur 2021. I'm pretty sure that Fire for Show was not out there and available. So retired firefighter now. But I used to tell the young probie firefighters to ask first how your wife's night was with the kids. Always tell your wife that you had a minimum 3 to 4 calls after midnight, even if you slept all night. Specifically, if she is home with infants. Happy wife, happy life.
For sure.
For sure. Chauffeur. Alex Harvey 606 says, I don't think I'll ever fall asleep after my wife. Wow. Okay. Well,
Whit, I'm actually kind of in this category. I do my best, but I have watched the John Hamm Saturday Night Live episode. I've watched 6 nights in a row now, I think, probably 4 nights in a row, and have not gotten through the opening monologue. So
yeah, I'm bad at that.
I'm with you, Alex.
It's actually the only night that I go to sleep after Melissa is when I get home from trips. That's it. Because the rest I'm out way before. All right. T House 007 says, so basically you were saying wives hate to see their husbands happy. I don't think that's what we said. I think that there's a situation for it. Like when I get home, it's great to have the conversations of everything you did, and she loves to hear the stories and all those things. Just the timing of said information is what we're emphasizing here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We absolutely love to see our wives happy, and they love to see us happy too, I promise you.
No doubt.
The real nobleman, the Harvard University alum, spilling the tea on how to conduct yourselves on a boys' trip. Take notes, gentlemen. This will be on your final exam. I like that. Yeah,
well done. We also, Fitz, had a lot of Pistons fans giving Blake some love on IG. Big Hyde 84 says the hate on Blake was wild. He literally gave us his last leg. And K-Bell 10 says everyone knows in Detroit has nothing but love for what he gave the city. Thanks, Blake. See, Blake getting some love. Yeah. Nick Elsner 23 says, I don't get the hate for Blake. He easily was an all-star on a below-average team, and the only reason we made the playoffs was because of him. He carried us. It's not his fault he got traded late in his career and only had a few good years left in him. He was fun to watch in Pistons red, white, and blue. Oh, man, come on. Blake's a good man. I like seeing him get this love.
I got a lot of comments from buddies and family that were like, I had no idea he was that funny. I had no idea
he's going to be fantastic, man.
He's going to be so good.
Do you have a winner, Fitz?
The winner of the coveted Masters Gnome, our favorite comment of the week. Here he is. Here's our gnome again. We had some great comments this week. But look, I'm not just giving this thing away. I don't think any of the comments were gnome worthy.
Ooh, I like this.
We
need more.
We're going to give it another week. There was nothing that really jumped out at me. There's nothing that jumped out at Whit. So one more week. We need some hilarious comments. I think leaning towards funny, leaning towards making fun of us. I think that's what's going to jump out and get our attention. So now there are 2 ways to enter.
All right, talk to me.
You can comment on this week's or last week's episode, wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, etc., all of those. Make sure you are subscribed to our page. If you are not subscribed, unfortunately, you are not eligible. And I want you to include hashtag Fitz and Whit giveaway in your comment. Look, we're new at this. I feel like some mistakes were made by us on our part.
Yeah, we'll take ownership right here. Ownership and accountability.
We just need more out of you guys. So follow us on Instagram, comment on any of our posts from this week, from last week's episode, and hashtag Fitz and Whit giveaway. And this Masters Gnome could be yours. This is special, and I think you guys understand how special this thing is now. So I'm not just going to give it away. You got to earn it. Right, Whit? You got to earn it.
You do got to earn it. And this giveaway is not sponsored or associated with any platform. Winner will be judged by me and Whit. Winner will be announced the next week. That's our
that's the corporate stipulation there.
Yeah, that's our corporate stipulation. No, but listen, hey, this thing's important now. And I think after that interview, everybody understands how much work goes into getting that and really what's involved. So we're going to need to see a big effort. That's it.
Yeah, we are. All right. My hamstring just cramped up, which means it is time to end the episode.
Time for you to work out.
Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.
Peace.